Hello and welcome back from On Top of the Wall. My name is Mason, your favorite Mason, and don't you forget it. We are back today with Pauper. We're playing a deck called Decktech. It is another blue mill deck. Because, you know, the world didn't have enough of those, and I really felt that everybody deserves to get milled out when they least expect it. And nobody should be really denied of that pleasure ever in life. And to top it off, we're playing a Merfolk tribal deck on top of that. It was between Millfolk tribal and Deck Dissolver as the name, and I'm just like, I don't know which one. Tell me in the comments below which one you prefer. And if you want to see the full deck just laid out in front of you, you can check the description below at tappedout.net. There's a little link below if you want to click. Let's get right into the deck. The namesake card of the deck, Ink Dissolver, is a 4-of that we're playing, and we're sort of built around. It's kind of our big tribal payoff for having all of the merfolks and wizards in our deck. It is a 2/1 for 2 mana, and it has kinship on it, kinsmanship, and it basically has to do with the top of your library. And if the top of your library is a creature card, and that creature card has the same types as this creature, then you get its effect, and this thing's effect is milling. So the ability to manipulate our top of our library is very important, which is why we're playing Information Dealer. Also a 4-of, a full playset of both of these creatures. Information Dealer is just a 1/1 for 2 mana wizard, so he does activate Kinsmanship, but he has a tap ability where you get to look at the top X cards of your library based on the number of wizards you control. Surprise, we have a lot of wizards, and you can rearrange them. So you can do tons of tricks, like you can rearrange the top of your library so a merfolk or a wizard is up on top, but then right after the ability resolves, but before your draw step, you can shuffle them back around so you can draw the desired card you would like. And it digs very, very deep. As soon as we get 4 creatures out, tapping to repeatedly do this every single turn and being able to switch around the top of our library is a very important effect for us, and it gives us a lot of pseudo card advantage thanks to its card selection. To support these creatures, I put in 4 Drowner Initiates. It's just a 1/1 for 1, but anytime a player plays a blue spell, you can pay 1 and target player mills the top 2 cards of their library, and a playset of Springleaf Drum. Springleaf Drum isn't quite the best ramp card in the world, however, because of the way that it's costed and the fact that we can make use out of smaller bodies on creatures allows us to ramp forward and make use of creatures that don't have tap abilities, make use of them even though that they're not able to attack into larger creatures or block properly, they can still be a mana dork. And it gives the deck to put out the ability to put out larger amounts of creatures very quickly that have small bodies and make use of them. The remaining merfolk in the deck, the remaining 10 of them that are there, are mainly there for their good bodies and their little bit of card advantage, a little bit of utility, and the different things that they can do for us. We have 3 Mesmeric Merfolk, Merfolk Mesmerist, sorry about that, and 3 Saltwater Stalwarts, I can't tell, I scribbled on the paper a little bit too fast, whoops, and 4 Augur Bolas. All these creatures have larger butts than they do have front ends, but they are good blockers and can come down a little bit earlier, help us stabilize, and can get us some card advantage. Some of them, mainly Merfolk Mesmerist, basically just helps mill out our opponent. If we have nothing left to do with our mana, we can continue to mill them out and try to do different things. And just an extra mana sink, kind of a backup Drowner Initiate. Now the big heavy-hitting mill cards in the deck that can really push our opponent over the edge: 4 Mind Sculpts and 4 Memory Sleuths. I want to say Juice, but it's Sloosh? Yes. And these are both sorceries. Mind Sculpt is a classic, just pay 2, opponent mills 7 cards. Mind Sleuth, pay 1, it's a hybrid black-blue, and target player mills 4 cards, but it has Conspire, so you can tap 2 creatures that share a color with this card, and you can copy it. So essentially it's 1 mana, tap 2 creatures, they mill 8 cards. And the ability to manipulate the top of our library allows us to quickly dig deep into the library, pull these things back up to the surface, and help us find more mill gas more quickly. And what really helps us with the ability to manipulate the top of our library, the ability to shuffle away a lot of lands that we see on top, and for just hitting that big patch of creatures, big patch of lands, things that we may not need, we have 3 ponders to go with all of this. Now for removal and a way to help us stabilize earlier in the game, we have 4 Seal of Removal. It's basically an unsummon, 1 mana, blue enchantment. It has sacrifice this enchantment, return target creature to its owner's hand. Now we also have 3 Aether Toe. It is 3 hybrid, white, blue, and it has put target attacking or blocking creature on top of its owner's library. And it has Conspire, so we can continue to tap our merfolk and make use out of their bodies if they're not attacking or blocking, and gain a little bit of card advantage. And it is card advantage when you return 2 creatures off the battlefield, not to their hand. They're not getting those cards back, they have to naturally draw them. They're almost skipping a draw step to just see those same cards. Now for our mana base. This mana base is a little bit simpler. It's only 11 islands, 2 lonely sandbars, and 3 radiant fountains. The radiant fountains are there for the life gain to help against a lot of aggro decks. It helps us stabilize and put us back into the game in a position where we can fight back from. The 2 lonely sandbars, because we don't actually need that much mana. Once we get to 4 or 5 mana, we would like to just not draw any more lands if we could help it. So the ability to manipulate the top of our library and the ability to cycle through these lands can really help us out. Now for our sideboard, I decided to skew this sideboard specifically towards our worst matchups, the decks that we're really afraid of in the format. Starting mainly with aggro decks. We had a lot of trouble fighting off Affinity, so I threw in 3 Annuls, and Boggles wasn't much better. There's not a lot of great interactions with us and Boggles. So we have 2 Aura Fluxes to really punish them, and it's virtually impossible for them to pay for all of their stuff. We're playing all of these Hydroblast to help fight against red decks, and a Whiplash Trap to go with it for the decks that like to play Burning Tree Emissary, that like to play multiple goblins in the same turn, that like to play a bunch of tokens. We can return them to their hand, get rid of them for good. And for later game decks and more control decks, just a little extra oomph to help fight against them, we have 1 Relic of Progenitus and 2 Curses of the Bloody Tome. The 2 Curses of the Bloody Tome, we don't have too many enchantments or artifacts in the deck that our opponents actually care about removing. Seal of Removal, it's virtually impossible to remove because we can sacrifice at instant speed. So they're not usually planning on siding anything in, just at a chance to force us to pop it off early usually. And Springleaf Drum, it's not a major setback for us if they waste an enchant removal card on it. And 2 Rootwater Hunters, the ability to just like ping anything that we want for 1 damage. Mainly we're going to be using this on creatures, things like elves and tokens, but I didn't include anything in this deck for Tron, because Tron itself, we actually are favored to win against Tron in the first game and in the games after, because most of their removal is skewed towards more aggro decks and surviving against attacks, gaining life, fogging, which we're not really interested in on their life total. We're not interested in dealing damage to them very often or very frequently. So us just milling them out, as they're already doing things like Forbidden Alchemy, that's fine. Go ahead, mill yourself. We're doing that too. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this deck again. I hope you remember to like me on Facebook, like this video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm on Instagram now. Don't forget about Instagram, Twitter, all that great stuff. And let me know what you want to see in the next Decktech. What kind of decks that you feel like could use a little bit of spice or some support, or maybe you just want to see a certain type of deck work in Pauper, the format. So go ahead, let me know in the comments below if you would like to see anything in particular. If not, until next time, come on in for that face touch.